Morning everyone, happy Wednesday. So I'm going to go over the materials that you're going to need. Take out your pieces of paper. I'm going to make sure that you write Wednesday at the top, and the date is 4/1/20 because now it's April. And then you're going to write your name at the top. Make sure that you also have a line in the middle so you can separate question 1 and question 2. And on the back, you're going to do the same thing. You're putting a line in the middle, putting question 3, and then question 4. All right, let's get started. Okay, so for number 1, I'm actually going to show you what you should draw on your paper. You want to make sure that you're not writing out the whole problem because it's going to take a while. If you have extra time, you can totally write the questions out, but I suggest that you just write whatever I have on my paper. So for number 1, I want you to draw a box and then write answer and do a line. So that's what you're going to do for number 1. I'm going to read the problem. Ruth had 34 markers. She ran outside and dropped some markers. Now she has 13 markers. How many markers did she drop? Write a number sentence to match the problem. Remember, when you're doing a number sentence, you want to make sure that you read the sentence one by one so you can match what you're going to write. So I want you to draw a box here. And then I'm going to read it sentence by sentence, and I'm going to give you time to write what you think should be on your number sentence. So I'm going to read that first sentence, and you're going to write down what should come first. Ruth had 34 markers. What do you think you should write in your number sentence? Right, so you should put 34 because that's the number we see first. And then for the second sentence, we're going to see what we put next. She ran outside and dropped some markers. So she dropped some markers. What do you think we're going to do next for our number sentence? So because she dropped, that means we're going to subtract. And we don't have a number in that sentence, so we're going to put a question mark. And now let's see what we're going to put next. Now she has 13 markers. What do you think you're going to write next in that number sentence? Yeah, so next you would write equals 13. Now you're going to label your total in your parts. I'm going to grab a new marker real quick. Okay, so your total goes before the minus sign. So 34 is your total. The question mark is a part, and 13 is your part. Now you're going to take the time to do a strategy to solve for the missing part. Remember, if you have extra time left over, you can totally do 2 strategies if you would like. You can get started. Okay, I'm going to start with my part. And I'm going to add and stop when I get to my total. So I think I'm going to use some 10 sticks so that I can make this a little bit easy for myself. So I'm going to add 1 10 stick. 13 plus 10 would make it 23. And then if I added another 10 stick, I would still not pass my total, so that would be okay. So I'm going to put another 10 stick, and I would get to 33. Now in order to get to 34, I need to add a 1 right here, and that will get me to 34. Okay, so my missing part is right here. I'm going to count this out. 10, 20, 21. Now what I want you to do, at the same time, you can write a number sentence that matches your work if you didn't do that already. So for mine, I started with 13, I added 21, and that got me to my total, which is 34. So I'm going to box 21 because that was my missing part. Okay. I'm going to read the question, and then you will take the time to write your answer in a complete sentence. How many markers did she drop? You can start writing now. Okay, I'm going to write Ruth dropped 21 markers. All right, we're going to move on to question number 2. I'm going to show you on my paper what I want you to write, because I don't want you writing the directions. You can write on your paper 400, 10 tens, and 8 ones. That's what you can write for number 2 on your paper. So you're writing again 400, 10 tens, and 8 ones. Because for the directions, you need to figure out what that equals. So for number 2, it says, what does 400, 10 tens, and 8 ones equal? You need to draw a picture and label your work. So after you do that for number 2, now you can actually start to draw your picture and see what 400, 10 tens, and 8 ones, what does that all equal all together? You can start doing that now. I'm going to start by drawing 400. So 1, 2, 3, 4. And then I'm going to do 10 tens. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. And then I'm going to do 8 ones. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Now I can definitely regroup my tens because I have 10 tens here. So I can just circle this, and I could just put an equal sign because I'm going to count this like it's 100. Okay, so now I'm going to label everything. 100, 200, 300, 400. Now we're going to pretend like this is 100 because we know 10 tenths equals 100. So we're going to count on 500. And then I have 8 ones left. Instead of counting each one, if I add 8 to 500, that's going to get me 508 for this whole thing. All right, awesome job, guys. So now we're gonna have our little dance break. I hope you have some fun. All right, guys, let's go to number 3. I'm gonna get my paper out so you can see what I want you to draw. For number 3, you don't have to write the directions. You can just write 403, 517, 464, and 501. And then you can draw 4 dashes on your piece of paper. And you're only doing this for number 3. Okay, I'm gonna get started. Write these numbers from greatest to least. On your first line on the bottom here, you can write greatest just to remind yourself that you need to start with the greatest number. And then you can write least on your last line. Now what I want you to do is I want you to put HTO at the top of each digit. Remember, sometimes you might have the same amount of hundreds, and if that happens, you're going to have to look at the tens place. So you can start figuring out which numbers is going to be the greatest, and then which one will be the least. Okay, I'm going to talk this through, so I'm going to look for the greatest number. Looking at the hundreds first, I see 4 for that digit, 5, 4, and 5. Well, I know the digit 5 is bigger, and I know 500s would be the ones that I would look at first, so I'm not going to look at the ones that say 400s. Now, since I have the same amount of hundreds here, I'm going to look at the tens place. In the tens place for this number, I only have 0, and in the tens place, I have 110. So this is going to be the greatest number, 517. I'm going to cross that out. Now we automatically should know what comes next because this has the most hundreds still when you compare it to these two numbers. So we're going to put 501. I'm going to cross that out. Now we're going to look at these two numbers. I see they both have the same hundreds, so I'm going to move on to the tens. This one has 0 tens and this one has 6 tens. The one that has the greatest amount is 464. And now we're going to know what comes last. It's 403. All right, good job, everyone. We only have one more question left. Number 4. So this is what I want you to draw for number 4. For number 4, you're going to write 298. You're going to put those 4 dashes, and then you're going to write 303. And then under that, you're going to write 699, 4 lines again, and then 704. So you don't have to write the directions. If you need some extra time, you can pause the video, or also you can see on my chart what you should have on your paper. Okay, I'm going to read number 4. Count up by ones for each. So we're going to take these one at a time. So I actually want you to work on this one first, where it says 298. So you can get started on that one. All right, so we're counting up by ones, so our ones place is going to change. And when we have 99, we're going to go to the next 100. 298, 299, 300, 301, 302. Now I'm going to give you some time to do this one on your own. Okay, so 699, we're really close to that next 100, which is 700. 701, 702, 703, and 704. Check out these cool videos that were sent to me for our math dance breaks.
Those rooms were awesome! If you want your video featured, don't forget to send it to your teacher. Also, make sure you're doing all the work and have a great Wednesday. We'll see you tomorrow.